well.
Well, come on in. Let's go to work. I want to welcome Julie Westcott. She's a friend of ours. This horse is actually owned by Power and Light Productions that does the story of Jesus and the story of Noah every year. And he has some hip problems. And a lot of times, if you're having issues with your horse, it may be because of pain. And I highly recommend that you just have a chiropractor check them once in a while. That goes with farrier, dentist. You know, there's so many things that you can help a horse with. So what can we do to help her? She's getting her bucket of treats out.
I'm sure you guys saw the video he posted on my wall of him crow hopping and peeing in.
Last week, the little video we had, I sent it to her and say, this is what you're working with Sunday.
Thank you for having me back. It's great to see everybody again.
Now, you just became her friend instead of mine. That's the way Satan works. He will tempt you with a goodie to get your eyes off of God. You can make a sermon out of that.
Yeah, you can. Nobody's calling me Satan, isn't he? Something I will look for a lot is a horse that's not standing as well. You want to see your horse to stand symmetric. If they're off, like he is, typically they're out of alignment. Very common. Lateral flexion is C2 in the neck, just like it is for us. This is a great exercise. I saw Lori at a call the other night. She asked me to show some stretching. So if you guys have any questions at all, just let me know.
I'm going to let him misbehave. He's yours.
Thanks.
Just holding on.
I want to see where his lateral flexion will come back, and you don't want his legs to move, but he wants to stay attached to Skipper. Let's see how much. You can have a horse that's got a rib out. They won't be able to catch their breath as well. Braciness, tension in the neck and pole is very common. Do you see how he had to force himself to come over to the right? That's what I look for. A lot of people tell me they use their reins to stretch their horse. This is much better because it stretches through their rib cage, just like we would stretch. If someone's sitting on our back, it's not going to be as comfortable. Basically, they have 7 neck bones.
Can we turn around so we can see what you're doing?
Sorry, guys. What I do is I palpate through his neck to see. I look for a point of soreness, and I mean, if you listen to your horse and watch him, they could blink. If I find a place of pain, let's say like this, look at his reaction. You see a muscle spasm come up through here, and he's looking for Skipper to help him. You have 7 neck bones. You have 18 thoracic bones right here. See, he's sore in his lumbar. Just say hypothetically, your horse has arthritis in their right paw. It's very possible we all have arthritis. What I would do if he would had soreness in his right rear, it would affect his left side of his body. A lot of people will think the size of pain is where the subluxation is. Subluxation basically is a traffic jam, is what I call it. They have meridians going through all through their bodies, just like we do. And it's what I strive to do is to bring his joint back to normal function. His range of motion may be affected, etc. So another thing I look for is TMJ, which is horse is ridden. This is a temporomandibular joint. Palpate this. Very common. Right-handed person will tend to be stronger in their right hand. We'll see that a lot. Pain in the right side of the neck. But we can't really blame because he's had time off. But how I would fix that is I look where his teeth are aligned. Right here. His jaw is going to the right. Boy. He licks and chews. That's a release I look for. That's why I have food rewards, so they don't think I'm a bad person. And maybe he'll like me better than Skipper, but I doubt it. So I go back, easy. Muscle memory is very common in them. I look for a reaction. I'll palpate this again, see? He's been adjusted. His range of motion is better. But if you just put your fingers right here with your horse to check it, and you'll see them relax. That's what I'm looking for. Any questions, Skipper?
Good.
Yeah. Yeah, now see, my holder's not holding.
You got to tell me what to do.
A horse has 205 bones. What I'll do, like I showed you guys, is I'll do a static palpation down their neck. Right there, he's sore. And I'll take his head. Adjust it. I come back and palpate it to see if I get the same response. Your horse will tell you a lot where they're bothered. For sure. I scared him last time I worked on him, so I think we're going to do better today. Better, you guys? Yes. This is VOM therapy. This is just a chiropractic tool used by human chiropractors. I'll use it sometimes if they're bracey in the neck. Some people will only adjust horses with this. I don't think it is strong enough to get the adjustments that I care for. The scapula is free floating. They don't have a clavicle bone like we have. That's why it's so important. Messed up again? Yeah. This thing doesn't like me this morning. Anyways, when I was a kid, we rode. We put any saddle, anything we had on them, and got on them and just went. And now that I've taken all these classes, I see how important it is. Just going to check these lateral flexion again there. That, for instance, I have a client. Basically, I went and checked the horse. When he goes to do a quick stop, the horse bucks and kicks out only when he asks him to stop for the canter. Asked him to put a saddle on the horse and candle itself right here. He had not enough clearance. It could be as little as a dime, a pressure point on a horse that will cause them to act out in pain very much. They'll grind their teeth, they brace in their neck, face, all throughout their body. I can't express it enough. If there's a farrier change, maybe your horse is not trimmed properly, chewed properly, anything like that will cause them to get out of the line. So, what I look for is the height of the scapula. The right side is high. See, and you can see this muscle knot he's got here, and he's going to move away from the pressure I put on him. A shoulder, if you pick up your horse's leg and you lift it properly, the average is 2 inches it should raise. A freaky horse, a real talented horse would be 4 inches. That's something a guide to look for if you pick up your horse's leg and just want to see what kind of range of motion they have. Boy, there's another cookie. Dad doesn't give many cookies, so does he? So what I do is I go back and I look for the spasm again. You want me to show them some of those exercises or not? What I look for also is range of motion when your horse would lift its back. That's a really good exercise. Just put your hands under the horse's back and ask him to lift. Very good exercise. Lateral flexion, carrot stretch is really good. Another one that's good is I'll come back here, drag my hands at the same time, point a hip. See your horse? You see swallow.
Kathy, do I have sound? Can you put a double windscreen on her? So the wind will quit coming into you. Just jump out there with Kathy for a second. When we talk about a healing in a horse, this horse, what's the chances of him getting better? Just turn loose in the pasture. What's the chances of this horse getting better on his own? Very little. What's the chances of us getting better on our own? You know, now we might can work at it, we might can do some stretches, we might can do some exercises, we can do all these different things, but when we truly need a healing, we have to go somewhere to get a healing. Now, I can tell you, you don't have to go anywhere physically. You have to go somewhere spiritually. Because you can be alone in your closet at home and cry out to God for a healing and receive it. It's not about what somebody else does for you. It's about the relationship that you have with God and His choice to heal over different circumstances. So, one of the things...
Okay, boss?
I don't know what your problem is.
Vertically challenged.
I can laugh at that, and you would not believe what my neck looks like straight because of hitting my head, because I'm challenged the other direction. I have hit my head way too many times, so jamming my neck. So she's getting more treats.
Yep.
What
I
side
don't know if you guys watched when he was moving. The left side of his pelvis is more very common, just like us. If you go get adjusted at your chiropractor, he will tell you usually that your left or right side of your sacrum is lower or higher, and they'll address it that way. These are the 2 points that I look for when they are sore. Think you're gonna be all right? Basically what I do is I go down, every thoracic bone, and I look for reaction, impingement, right there. That's a fly too, but, oh, there we go. Not too sure of that, so I'll go back and I'll...
Let me bring it back.
I repalpate through. The lumbar is tight on this side. He's not happy about me being up here. There it went, right there, easy.
And he's telling you what he thinks of that.
Yes, he is. And see, I'll go back and recheck it again. He's trying to get away from me. That's all right. I'll give him a chance.
And you'll notice when Julie said he's not real happy, he's not. But it's also indicative of he's got some serious pain there. And you could tell when Skipper was loping him that he was really sore in that back hind.
So the right side of his hip is high. What I'll typically do is I'll go and I'll address the right side if they'll let me, as being high, and the low side I'll address differently as well. I'll load this joint here.
I think he's loaded too.
Yes, he is, isn't he? Skipper does this to me every year. That's why he put the video on there for me.
And I think one of the things that we have to warn you about is that just recently she got her little table kicked out from underneath her. And Julie got hurt.
Yep.
So we got to be careful because this guy will kick out.
There. Some horses will actually stretch their leg out, they'll kick out, trying to get the weight off of that impingement so I can address it. They're very intuitive. I listen. That's the biggest thing that veterinarians, farriers, all equine professionals should listen to what the owners tell, because you guys know. So as I said, the right side of the lumbar was positive because he has pain in the left. He's been compensating on the right. You feel the heat coming out of his back now. So that's why I addressed this side first.
Whenever she was just talking about the stretching, you got to know your horse. Just because you see somebody doing something with their horse, don't mean you can go home and do it to yours. You go in there and tickle your horse's belly, and he may kick you in the nose.
Thank you for saying that. You're right. He's very right. The sacrum tuck I was talking about, basically, the best way to do it, if your horse is quiet, I don't recommend it if they are not. I stand this way because the closer you are to the horse, the skipper will tell you, the safer you are. They can't get the distance to kick you. I go from point of hip to point of hip, and I drag my hands at the same time, and his whole back should raise, just like that. That's what we look for. What I'll also do is just hold it. I'll stretch his back until he moves away from it. Then I'll release. This is basically like a stretching like that.